Hello, African sports fanatics. Welcome to another episode of the Safari Soccer Show. I'm your host, Yvonne Etta. Today we are doing it different. The first coach to appear on my show. Welcome very much, coach. And just please introduce yourself to my viewers. And if you don't mind, you can take us through your football journey as a player and as a coach as well. Just a summary of it.
Have we got enough time? Hi, my name's Dylan Kerr, former coach of Gor Mahia in Kenya, now currently at Black Leopards in South Africa's PSL. My playing career started as a 16-year-old as an apprentice at Sheffield Wednesday. I then was released 2 years later and came to South Africa to continue my career for 3 seasons with Arcadia Shepherds. Fortunately, I was offered a contract at Leeds United. I was joining Kaizer Chiefs, but Leeds United came in and offered me a contract. So I spent 3 years at Leeds, 3 glorious years at Leeds. And then I moved to Reading. I had a nasty injury in Reading, which nearly killed my career, but I managed to recover from that. And I was fortunate to be offered a trial at Kilmarnock in Scotland, in the Premier League in Scotland. And I signed a 3-year contract there. And I actually semi-retired at the age of 32, with a series of injuries with my groin and my pelvis, and played part-time for Hamilton Academicals. And then I just played for lower league teams in England. And I actually finished in 2002. So I started in 86 and I finished in 2002 as a player and moved into coaching. I went to America to coach. In 2002, 3, 4, I got a job with the Scottish Football Association as a coach educator from 2005 to 2009, where I came back to South Africa and started my coaching career with Mpumalanga Black Aces, Tanda Royal Zulu, and then I went to Vietnam to a club called Katuko Kwanwa, which then changed names to Haiphong, and I spent 3 years there. And I won my first trophy as a coach in the V-League, which was the equivalent to the FA Cup. And then I moved to Tanzania, where I had 6 months at Simba, which was amazing. But, a catalogue of, we didn't see eye to eye as a coach and as a club. And I left and joined Chesterfield Academy. I was under 18s phase development coach. And then I got offered a job in Kenya with Gor Mahia, which I actually turned down in 2014 when Bobby Williamson left to go to the national team. I turned it down. It wasn't the right time for me. And when Ambrose Rachia called me, it didn't take me 2 minutes to make a decision. And we won back-to-back league titles. We qualified for CAF for the first time in the group stages. And we had a very, very successful campaign. And we played Everton at Goodison Park, which was first ever for an East African team. And then I came to Black Leopards in 2018. My mum was dying, so I left Black Leopards to be with my mum. And I came back to South Africa to Baroka in 2019, and I left there, 2020, and I left there. I've just left there and just rejoined Black Leopards. I've got unfinished business.
Now you have
so that's a brief history. Have we run out of time now?
You have a great football history. I know you don't have time, but let me just take you back to, you told me you started your football career while you were 16 years, and then 2 years later you were dropped. And what went wrong? Because I was reading an article about you, and then I read that by this time you had lost hope. You thought the world was coming to an end. So what happened? Why were you dropped just 2 years later?
Well, I was 16, and I never thought I'd get into professional football, which was my childhood dream. And when I did, the adulation of the supporters, the players, the club, and I'm a big music fan. I love my 80s music, and then back in the day there was groups in Sheffield, the Human League, Heaven 17, ABC, Pulp, among others that I was really, really big fans of, and I got introduced to lots of pop icons back in the day. And the social life of a footballer was always out drinking, out partying, and I became a social football player without making a first team appearance. You know, in that year that I signed my first professional contract at 17, I kind of enjoyed the lifestyle of being a footballer without really doing anything. And I got this thing in my head that I would never ever be released. I was always, once I signed a professional player, I was always going to be a professional player.
Yeah.
And believe me, that day I got told that, you know, I was going to be released. I won't be offered a new contract. That was just, you know, 6 months of pure hell, because when you get released as a young player, it's very, very, maybe 1 out of 100 players will be lucky enough to go into another club. I wrote 91 letters. I wrote them, didn't copy them, didn't paste them. I wrote 91 letters to clubs in England and asking for trials. I got 7 replies, and I went for 7 trials, and I didn't get a contract. I didn't get offered anything, and I'd basically given up, you know, and I was going to move on to whatever life I could, you know, find where I wanted to be next. And then I got a phone call from my former manager at Sheffield Wednesday, and he said that a team in South Africa are desperate for you to go. And at the time, I was only 18. You know, I never left home. I've always been, you know, kind of a mummy's boy, really. You know, I always liked my mum and my family and my friends. But I decided to come. You know, within 2 days, I was on a flight to South Africa, and you know, and I've never looked back since then. For 3 years, it was a wake-up call, because I had to try, and I didn't lose focus on trying to get back into the English game. And again, by pure luck, my former manager at Sheffield Wednesday had left and joined Leeds United. And when I was home, you know, I asked if I could train to keep myself in shape, and they were short on players. I played a couple of reserve games, and basically they offered me a 3-year contract.
Okay, coach, 91 letters, 7 replies, but with nothing materialized out of your effort. Now, later you got clubs, started playing, but then when I was looking at your football history, I came to realize that you have played for around 16 clubs or so. So why were you a journeyman during your playing period?
Sorry, what was that last bit?
During your playing.
16 clubs.
Yeah. So why were you a journeyman?
Why a journeyman? To be fair, I was very unlucky with injuries, and in 1996, I had a very, very serious injury. I've had lots of groin problems. I had 4 groin operations, 5 hernia operations. I've had a ruptured hamstring. I've torn my Achilles. I had a piece of bone taken out my foot, and I was always there on the cusp of doing something really, really big, and then unfortunately an injury occurred. You know, but the serious one was when I ruptured my hamstring. I actually did the splits in a game, and I was told by the doctor I'd never play again. You know, they said that they'd be able to fix my leg so I would be able to walk, but that I'd never be able to play again. So for 18 months, you know, I worked so damn hard to get myself back into shape, and it paid off. You know, when I went on trial in Scotland for Kilmarnock, and I played the game on Wednesday in the reserves, and on Saturday I played in the first team, and I've doubted a lot of people wrong in my career. A lot of people have either said, "I'll never be a footballer. I'm not good enough. I'll never play at the highest level," you know, and that doubt from everybody gave me motivation to prove them wrong. And even when I retired in 2002, yes, I couldn't play to my potential because of the injury, but I didn't want to give up. You know, I'm 53 now. I'm 54 next month. I still want to play. I still think I can play, even though people say I can't because I'm too old. I'll still try and play. So I was fortunate that, you know, my self-motivation, my never give up, never die attitude, you know, kept me going. And obviously, you know, I've played at a lot of non-league clubs as well. I just love the game. I just love to play football.
Now, Coach, one of my viewers is telling me to ask you, you should clear the air if you are Britain, if you're from Britain or from Malta.
I was born in Malta. My father was in the Merchant Navy, and I was there for 2 years. So I can't remember much of it. My godparents are Maltese. The last time I went back was probably in the 80s on a family holiday. But I've actually just got back in touch with my godparents, after 30 odd years. So yes, I'm British, but born in Malta.
Okay, now just some personal question a bit, because I'm made to understand that you made a sacrifice. For example, not to have a family, so as you can concentrate in football. Do you think this sacrifice is worthwhile?
Up until my last club at Morocco, and I'm not going to speak about them because they're actually not worth it.
Yeah.
But yes, I've got no children. I was married briefly in '95. I got divorced in '97.
Okay.
So I got married, and I've never really. I love children, but it's something that I've never really seen myself, of meeting somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I've sacrificed a lot of personal stuff, especially for the last 10 years of my life, of my mother's life. I've been abroad for 9 of them, and, she was my main inspiration. The only thing that mattered to me was my football and my mother. My mother's left us now. I know she's with me, as they say, she's always around you, supporting you, but football's been my life, from a young age of watching my dad play pub football, Saturday local football, amateur football, from watching, the best league in the world, the EPL, or the Football League back in the day. I've always wanted to be a football player. It was my ambition. And again, I've sacrificed not just my family, but I've sacrificed my friends as well. And also, you build up relationships with people. Like, for instance, Gor Mahia. I had a fantastic relationship, probably the best club from a chairman and players perspective, but more so the supporters, that I had respect from them and I respected them too. So, I've sacrificed a hell of a lot and it's self-sacrifice. I've been selfish, for a lot of it, but it's something that, football's in my blood. I've got balls pumping through my brain, through my veins. I've not got blood pumping through me. They're all footballs. And so, yeah, I've made a lot of sacrifices for the job I love and the job I love to be in.
Okay, you have talked about Gor Mahia. So let me just bring you back home. How was it winning the league with Gor Mahia back to back, but with the not so good facilities that Gor Mahia had?
To be fair, the first league championship was fantastic because, again, I don't think anybody expected me to come there and win the title. Yeah. Never mind, do it back to back. The second season was difficult because, financially, the club was in bits financially, with, traveling, paying players dues. I remember we'd won the league by beating our arch rivals, AFC Leopards, with basically what everybody considers my third team. And we'd won the league with like 7 games left, and then all of a sudden things started to go, pear-shaped with the sponsors and the money, and the last 5 games we played. I mean, I was driving around Nairobi, and phoning people, all the players, to just please play, even though they're not being paid. I didn't have a car. There was a period of time where I didn't have any power, any water in my apartment because they didn't pay the bills. I used to walk from Kileleshwa to Yoyo. I used to walk there to training, and it wasn't because I wanted to make a stance or to make a point. I actually love walking. That's one of my favorite hobbies. I think better when I walk, and it would take me 4 hours to get there because I used to stop and talk to everybody, but like I said, it's a sacrifice. I understood the club were going through some difficulties, and you know, that should never be brought on a coach. Everything should run smoothly for the football team. But like I say, you know, you got a fantastic chairman there. You know, he was brilliant, and the players, but the Kagalo fans, they were absolutely, you know, I love them to death. You know, they'll be forever, you know, inside me as well.
Talking of the players and the Kogalo fans, what do you think about the Gor Mahia fans, because you had so much close contact with them?
I mean, look, every fan at a football club is the heart and soul of football. And, you know, Leeds United have got the most amazing fan base in England. Simba in Tanzania, they're just, you know, they're just fanatics. Simba and Gor Mahia, you know, they're like the Kaiser Chiefs or Orlando Pirates in South Africa. They're like the Al Ahly Zamalek in Egypt. You know, it's the fanatics of the supporters. It's just overwhelming. You know, come win, lose or draw, they will stick by you. Even if you have an off day, they will stick by you. And you know, I spend most of my time talking to supporters online. I'm still getting Facebook messages. I still get tweets from Kenya, from Tanzania, from all over the world. You know, and I feel that I must have done something good. You know, football, it wasn't about me. You know, I was privileged to be in this position. I was lucky to be in these positions, and I respect the supporters more than anybody in the world. You know, and because at the end of the day, they're part of playing the game that the footballers on the pitch play. You know, and unfortunately now with COVID, we're not getting those supporters around. So I can imagine. I know Tanzania is different. They're not really taking this COVID thing, you know, as serious as what the rest of the world are doing. But it's weird when you're playing in empty stadiums. We played at the FNB against Kaiser Chiefs on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. There was maybe 50 people in the stadium, and it's a 90,000 seater stadium. So you could actually hear a pin drop in that environment. So, you know, the fans for me are just, you know, they will always be the number one.
Okay, coach. Let's talk. Let's just get away from fans and the players. Let's talk about the club management. You are one of the few coaches who have called out the club management for interfering with your work. According to African mentality, coaches do not speak if the club management may be peddle among their work. So are you not afraid this can interfere with your work? Maybe you can be sacked, or any other club can be afraid of hiring you.
Well, I was terminated from my previous job because it wasn't so much of, you know, what I said on TV when we played Mamelodi Sundowns. It was actually, you know, a pre-season friendly, and you know, it was a discussion about the way the club's going. And you know, for me, it's my job to make sure that the club goes in the right direction. Whether, yes, the chairman and the owner of the club, you know, he's hired me to look after his football club, you know, and if I'm not doing that right, then, you know, he's got every right to tell me, you know, and I'll respect that.
Yeah.
You know, but it's difficult when you're trying to build a brand at a football club that's been struggling for years in status of PSL, in KPL, in any league in the world. You know, you're actually hired to do a job at the best of your ability, and I went above and beyond that, and I've always gone above and beyond my job. I'm not a coach that just comes to work, trains, leaves, and then just forgets about everything. I'm 24/7 with my football. You know, when my former chairman's wife phoned me and said, "Listen, we need some new tires for the team bus. Can you go and get us quotes?" I know I'm driving around Polokwane getting quotes for tires for the team bus. You know, that's not my responsibility, but that's part of my job. It's sort of, I'm the makeup of the club, and I have to be the forefront of that makeup because it's my job, my role. And the problem with me is that I'm very honest when it comes to football. You know, if it's white, it's white. If it's black, it's black. If it's orange, it's orange. There's no difference from that. You know, I will say it as I see it. And if you don't like it, then tough, deal with it. Deal with it. Sit down and we'll talk about it. But what I see is from a footballer's point of view, because I'm a former professional footballer. I don't just see it as a coach that's just coached and never played the game. So I understand players' needs. I understand the technical issues. I understand the monetary issues that the clubs are going through. But I have to prepare and make sure that I and the staff around the football club. So what I'm doing is trying to build something and trying to create something that's good, positive for everyone. And obviously, when I'm telling the truth now. I know what happened. I know what happened. You know, I can't say anything about it right at the moment because I'm going down the legal route.
Yeah.
But I know what happened. You know, and I'm right in what I said. But some people think, you know, the other way, and I can't help that, you know, because I'm trying to do my best. If I don't do my best, then I'll get fired. If I don't do my job, I'll get fired. If I'm not getting results, I'll get fired, and I'll take that. But for other things, you know, for what happened recently, no, it's not right. It's not fair. And like I say, I've just actually, while I'm talking to you, I've just received a letter from an email from my lawyer. So it'll be interesting to see what he says. And it's not about money. This isn't about financial. This is about integrity. This is about my beliefs, you know. And my mother, and I'm not going to swear, but my mother I know what my mother would be telling me right now if she was here, you know. But she knows what this football job means to me. She knows the sacrifices I've given for this game, and I love it, But when I'm done wrong by, you know, don't cross me with my job. Don't go behind my back and kill me with my job, you know, because it's everything to me.
Okay, Coach, I know I promised not to take so much of your time, but I can't.
No, it's me. I'm talking. I love it. Yeah, listen, I talk. We can stay here all day.
Yeah, the interview can't go without me asking you this question. Can you just please tell me your experience with witchcraft in Africa, witchcraft football?
Well, I mean, you know, the other day we had to strip naked, get on his knees, and close our eyes, and we were thrown lots of whatever mooty it was, I don't know, and we had to say a prayer, you know, and I'm stark naked, you know, and this guy's come, he's driven 12 hours during the night to come and, you know, do the players. When I was at South Africa, when I first came to South Africa, they put me in a bath, chopped chickens' heads off, threw the chickens in the bath, and I was there again naked with a pair of football boots on, you know. So I had that. That's my first experience. I've been running on Durban's beach with the players, and the players have all stood still while I'm running up the beach, and I'm like, what's happening here? And there's a row of chickens with the feet and the bottom stuck out of the sand, and the players refused to run by it because it was bad mooty. You know, I'm even told now at training, we train on one pitch and Polokwane City play on the next pitch. I'm told on training we're not allowed to go on their pitch because we put bad mooty on. I mean, it's crazy. Going to Richards Bay playing Tandoori Zulu, they refused to let us walk through this door. We had to walk around this big building to get into our dressing room, and I said no. And I walked through that door. Oh my God, there was hell. There was hell because they put all the mooty everywhere. All the juju was everywhere. Tanzania was different. I didn't see much in Tanzania. Kenya, I know a couple of teams have tried to use mooty to try and beat Gor Mahia. I think one was Zucaricio. I think the club actually asked the mooty man for his money back because it didn't work. They got pumped 3-0. So the club asked for a refund. So no, I mean, mooty's mooty, you know. Some clubs have got strong beliefs in it. You know, I'll do it. And don't listen. Don't get me wrong. I'm not into it. But, you know, if I have to get drenched in whatever ghastly things that comes in that bucket, I will do it. You know, because I want to be part. I want to be part of the group. I don't want to let it. I'm not going to let anybody down.
But I'm made to understand that on the first time you engaged in that, your team came from behind, you scored 2 goals, and you won the game.
Yeah, and I scored 2 goals, and part of it was to make sure that the blood was on my boots. You know, and the funny thing we were losing 2-0, and I can still remember to this day, their witch doctor, their mooty man came out half time, and he was spraying everything. He's got this big squeezy bottle, he's spraying water everywhere. He's doing this crazy dance, and the crowd were absolutely loving it because they were 2-0 up. When they lost the game, you just saw this mooty man run. Swoom! He was quicker than Usain Bolt. The fans went after him. They were going to kill him, you know, because they reckon he gave them bad mooty. Not to say that my 2 goals, which were absolute screamers, didn't count, but and then we went on to win the BP top 8. So again, every club I've won, every club I've played at, or I've coached at, or I've coached with, I've won something. And even though I've not won a title with Barocca and Black Leopards, keeping him in the PSL was my mandate. That was my job. They were bottom of the league. So every club I've been with, I've won a title, I've won a cup, I've won a championship as a player and as a coach. And you probably know I've got tattoos all over my legs and I've still got 3 tattoos to do. 4 tattoos to do now. I've got Blackpool because I was with them when they got promoted. Sheffield Wednesday, I was with them when they got promoted. My American team, they never won a trophy in 12 years. When I joined, within 3 months, we'd won the San Diego Challenge tournament and Arcadia Shepherds, but I'm trying to get the Arcadia Shepherds badge.
Now, Coach, you have just talked about not winning anything yet with the team in South Africa. Now, my question is, what are you planning right now? Because you have not won anything in South Africa yet. So what is your plan for the league right now?
This season's to just, again, stay in the PSL, but try and qualify for top 8. We've got 24 games left. You know, so far, 1-1, drawn 1, lost 1. 2 games have been away at Bloemfontein Celtic and at Kaiser Chiefs, which have been very tough. So my aim is to try and get Black Leopards as high as we can this year. And the next year, I want to go for the PSL. I don't know. I've said to the players, it's not impossible. We've still got 24 games to play. You still got to believe that you can win as many games as you can. And who knows? You might be in the last 6 games. You might be fighting for top 3. You might be fighting for the championship. I don't want to do what I've done for the 2 Prass clubs, keeping them up from relegation. You know, I've done that twice. 3rd time, maybe unlucky, but I don't want that. I was never given the opportunity at my former club because of certain things, and I've moved forward now to Black Leopards, and you know, my chairman's, he's going to support me. He's going to support the players. I've got to change that mentality to try and become winners rather than, you know, relegation favourites.
All the best in that, Coach. Now, before we just wrap up the interview, Coach, maybe just compare for us between the South African League, the Kenyan League, and the Tanzanian League, because you have coached in those leagues.
Well, for players wise, there's not much difference.
No,
there's not much difference. And from a facility point of view, you know, Kenya has got the Kasarani. We've got Kasarani. Is it Kasarani? No.
Yeah. Kasarani
Kasarani and Nyayo Stadium. And that's it, really. Kisumu's got an all-weather field, which, you know, is okay. But here, because of the World Cup, obviously South Africa's got better facilities. It's got better training facilities. It's got everything that, you know, has been given to them by FIFA when the World Cup was here. Tanzania's got their fantastic stadium, fantastic supporters. But again, you know, apart from Azam, all the stadium fields, you know, the pathetic really for professional football. You know, I mean, I remember we trained at the police centre, out near the National Stadium, and you'd have to get the cows and the goats off the field, but they were cutting the grass because they were eating it. So and you were playing at Mathari, you were playing in Kericho, where the fields were terrible, but you got that city stadium that's been lying empty for years. It's a shame, but it comes at a cost. And luckily, South Africa had the World Cup here, so we've got a fantastic stadium in Polokwane that nobody goes to. Maybe 2,000 fans every fortnight before the COVID. It's a beautiful stadium. It's absolutely fantastic, and I'm so happy that they've finished Nyayo Stadium now. I'm hoping it's as good as what they said. I'm hoping the surface is brilliant. And again, Goma here are leading the country into CAF, and I wish them all the best. I know our rivals in Kenya. I think they would love me to come and join, because they probably want a tattoo on my leg of their logo on my leg. Excuse me. But no, football. I'm football daft. Football's my life. And I'm so happy we're having this conversation. And maybe we can do part 2, part 3, because there's a hell of a lot more. I could share with you and your viewers. And I know it's something that you've just kicked off in this COVID time. And people need this. People need to see a funny side of football, not a serious episode where everything's looking down and looking gloomy and looking sad. You need to tell these stories so people can listen and understand. The infrastructures of being a player, being told that you're not good enough, being told you'll never play again, being told that you'll never get back at your club in professional football in England again. And one day I'm going to write my book, and it'll shed a big story from a young boy that's come from a little town in Yorkshire called Mexborough, that from the age of 12, I wasn't good enough to play in the best teams. I was told I would never get a professional contract. And like I said at the start, I'll prove them wrong. And I'm going to prove people wrong. As long as they keep doubting me, I'll keep proving them wrong. Sure. Because you've got one life on this planet, make the most of it, enjoy it, and enjoy it with a smile.
Thank you very much, Coach. Now, just as we wind up the interview, maybe your word of advice, your last word of advice to players and to your fellow coaches, because also apparently players, when they retire, they want to venture into coaching. So maybe your word of advice and any other thing that you can share with us.
As a player, you've got to be determined and you've got to be professional. There's no excuses. In professional football in England, you can't have an excuse because you don't play. You've got to be at your best, and you cannot blame anybody else but yourself. If you're not playing, there's a reason for it. It's not because the coach doesn't like you. It's not because some people don't like you. It's because you're not performing. So as a player, you've always got to play at your best. Even every day in training, you give your best. Some days you're never going to play as well as you'd like, but you move on. It's a knockback. You get knocked over, get back up. Don't lie there feeling sorry for yourself. Yeah. For ex-players trying to get into coaching levels, they've got to go through a process. Don't think it's easy to just come. And I'll give you an example. I did my A license with Jose Mourinho in Scotland in 2001. Mm-hmm. And to be fair, nobody knew who Jose was, and we didn't believe that he was with Barcelona because he didn't look a football coach. Now, I failed my A license at first because I did it too soon. I took it. I thought I would be able to be a coach once I'd retired football, but it was on a different level. And I failed. And I'm glad I failed because that drove me on to become even better. And the next 2 years, I moved to America. So it wasn't until 2005 that I actually resat my A license and I passed it. And that's what footballers have got to do. They've got to, plan a journey. Some are lucky, some will get a job straight away and they'll have the lucky, they'll have the Midas touch where everything goes well. But I'd say 99%, have to bide the time. And the more you learn, the more knowledge you get, the more you listen, the more you watch on TV, how players are playing, how teams are playing, you know, the formations, you listen to the coaches, what they're saying before the game, after the game. That's in Africa, Asia, America, and Europe. You know, because everybody's got a little insight to something that you can put into your makeup bag, and then you can use that, you know, for certain games. And just keep believing in yourself. Don't let anybody tell you you're not good enough. Don't let anybody say that you're rubbish, you know, because they're only jealous. At the end of the day, they're only jealous. But, you know, one thing you've got to do is always smile. Never get angry with anything.
Yeah.
You'll get upset, but always when you're out, make sure you smile, because you don't want people to think that other people, again, you know, are going to mess with you. And one of the best, you know, my mum always said to me, she says, why don't you give up football? Why don't you get a job, get married and have kids? And I said, Mum, my football's my job, my family, and I've got 30 kids. I said, so, you know, that's who I am. And for anybody that wants to play football, keep going, keep trying. Whoever says you're not good enough, just ignore them. Go and prove them wrong. I did.
Sure. Thank you very much, Coach. I hope I will also do. Thank you for gracing my show, because personally, I've also been trying to get in contact with some of the greatest coaches like you. But you gracing my show today has also shown me not to give up in life. Maybe one day they will reply my messages and appear on my show.
Well, listen, I will try and get you some. I've got your WhatsApp now, so I will try and speak to a few people in the UK.
Yeah.
If they'll be willing to speak to you, and I'm sure they will. Yeah. I'll send Bobby Williamson, because obviously he's living in Kilileshwa. Oh. So, you know, you'll be able. I'll let Bobby know. You know, I can even, you know, Gavin Hunt at Chiefs, Steve Compella at Sundowns. I'll even try Pizzo, but now Pizzo's a superstar now. He doesn't talk to anybody now because he's a major superstar.
Let's hope.
I've got one over on Pizzo. 1986, I was voted in the top 10 players of South Africa. Mark Anderson, the Mamelodi Sundowns goalkeeper, won it. I came second. Max Mapanyani came third. Pizzo came nowhere, and he was with me in the top 10. So I've got one on you, Pizzo.
Thank you.
You might have CAF, you might have PSL trophies, you might have Nedbank, you might have MTN8. I came second in the players in 1986. I've got one up on you. But well done, Pizzo, on your African Cup of Nations. Brilliant.
Let's hope you.
Or your CAF champions.
Yeah. Let's hope he'll also bless my show and maybe brag to you that he also has something on top of you.
Yeah.
No, thank you very much, Coach. To our viewers, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Safari Soccer. Follow us on all our social media handles at Safari Soccer. Follow my personal social media handles at Yvonne Etta. Follow Coach at Dylan Kerr. Until next time, thank you, Coach, and I wish you all the best in your football career.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure. And keep in touch.
I will.
Please keep in touch.
I will, Coach.
You know, and I'll spread the word out, and hopefully you'll get some. Yeah, maybe you'll get somebody who'll speak to you as well.
Oh,
I'll even email Josie and see if he will grace your channel.
Inshallah. Thank you very much, Coach.
Okay. Give my love to all the Kenyans. Give my love to all the Kigalo fans.
I will.
And remember with the Kigalo fans, I'll always have to show them that. Look, show that to the AFC fans. Show that to the AFC Leopards fans.
They're seeing it right now.
Listen, take care. Thank you.
Have
a good day. Bless. Thank you. Bye-bye.